Hello there and welcome to a new live stream, a new Jan's Views live stream, and in particular Jay Slater. Oh my god guys, how much is going on about the Jay Slater case? It's been revived thanks to Debbie. We can thank Debbie for that for sure, and all the others, even the nasties. So yeah, they're keeping it going. Keep it going, guys. That's what we want. How are you all? I see you all in the chat. Lovely to see you. Great stuff. Who have we got here? Oh my goodness, it goes back a long way. I can see all my mods are in. Thank you, mods. You do a fantabulous job. I'm always very pleased to see you in the chat. We've got Claire, we've got Pinky Pop, and what other mods have we got in tonight? I want to give you a shout out to begin with. Okay. Okay, I'll probably have to go down a bit further. We've got Lisa Payne in, Stephen, we've got Teresa, we've got Rachel, so many of you here, it's lovely. We've also got somebody called Annette, someone called Pipstar, Trishwood, so many of you. And yeah, hopefully we're going to have Dunks come in very, very soon. There he is. So let me put up the link for you there, Dunks, so that you can come and join me on panel. So, guys, I put up a poll. Why is that not working? Okay, let's take that away. I think I know why that's not working. So good at this. Guess who decided, right, to, you know, when you've got a Mac and you need to clean it, like get rid of all the caches and everything. Guess who decided to do that at 9:15? Me. And when you do that, there's like thousands of things that they need to get rid of. And so it was still getting rid of them. And I'm like, oh my God, I should be going live. Time management is not my best thing. Let me tell you. Let me see if this will show up now. Yeah, so here. This is 3 hours ago. I did a poll where I asked you, what would you like us to focus on in today's Jay Slater livestream? I put down Debbie Duncan's tour of mainstream media studios, MWT's involvement and possible misinformation, Dan the Man and his fall from grace, or anything, as it is all so interesting. And the highest one is the anything. So, Dunks, who isn't connected just yet, connect yourself, Dunks. It looks like we can talk about anything. I'm happy with that, guys. I like to be led quite often sometimes. Oh, it's okay. Wendy Terry is saying, Duncan, where can I find your channel? You have disappeared from my subs and I can't find your channel. Okay, Wendy Terry, his channel is Duncan Smith 2 with the number 2. I hope he's not disappeared again. So he's disappeared out of my green room. He was here a second ago and now he's gone. Come back, Dunks. Come back, Dunks. Yeah, so let me read what else. Oh yes, so as I was saying, with the poll, it looks like we're just going to talk about anything. So if there's anything in particular that you want to discuss, let's do it, guys. That's what we're here. That's what we're here for. That's what, you know, that's why I enjoy these live streams, because I think it also gives you the opportunity to talk about things as well, you know. And I'm guessing we're all kind of invested in this in some way or another, whether we are content creators, whether we just view it. We all want to see the right thing come out, and we want to have justice for Jay. You know, that's really the best way of putting it. And there seems to be a lot of people that are not on the same page as us. Um, so I'm looking back here. Dunks, you've not got your camera on, sweetie, but I'll let you on, okay? There he is. There's our Dunks. Uh, okay, let's see if he's going to speak. Can you speak, Dunks?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think the audio is fine, but the camera doesn't want to connect. I've unplugged it, I've plugged it back in. Let's just go with the audio for now. I'll keep working on it.
yeah, that's cool. That's good. Um, okay, so we've got. How are you, Dunks? Anyway, how has your week been, and how has your weekend been? I'm guessing that you've been somewhat busy as regards content.
Yeah, it's been a really hectic week, content-wise. We keep getting caught out, kind of. I had no idea that Debbie was going to make that ITV appearance. I suddenly got a message from someone saying, she's on TV now. So, bless her soul, she does keep us on our toes. Then there was all the reaction to that, and there was all the usual stuff, trying to look into this, that, and the other. So yeah, busy week on the Jay Slater case, and we're just about into December, so it's going to get busier, I guess.
Yeah, so do you come home for Christmas? Meaning, do you come back to Blighty for Christmas, or do you stay away throughout the festivities?
We are very much away for the festivities. We go to somewhere warmer, and I mean, we're in a place where there is Christmas. It's festive, but it is not blighty. I quite like. I don't know about you, Jan. I quite like Christmas markets and the lights and all that. Just not a big fan of cold generally. So Christmas is fine, but Christmas in the cold, I've just never really got into the cold bit.
Same, Duncan. I hate it. I used to do
Yeah.
vlogs where I'd be out and about, you know, with my camera. Hey, look at me, I'm over here. And I'm here today. And all I ever did, if I was filming in the cold, was moan about the weather. That's. I just couldn't get over that. It's like I just can't bear this weather. I should have been born somewhere else. My roots are well. I'm sort of. I'm quite lucky. I'm mixed. I've got my mother was a northerner, and my father was Jamaican. So I'm like, I think I should have been born over there. I don't think I should have been born over here. It's like it's too damn cold for me, for sure. So, Dunks, I put the link in for Habit, who wants to
Yeah.
come up. Apparently, he's got 12 questions of Christmas. Look at you there with your cup, looking really smart. So before we move on, we can talk about anything, Dunks. I did put up a poll, which I think I'm going to try and do every week, so that if people, so that we can gauge really what people want to talk about, because there's so much going on. Now, I want to ask you: is there anything in particular that you want to talk about? You know, at the beginning.
There isn't. I had a quick look at that poll, and I think the largest group were those that said they really don't mind. It's all interesting, which is good to hear. Um, I don't know if you, Jan, are. I saw what you did earlier on Chris Tenerife, and you went back to that voice note thing where he's attacking Mama D, and it's just horrible. But there's also been the Dan O'Keefe thing that has come up this week, and I don't know if you followed that, if you're interested in that at all. Um, I am, because it gets to the nitty-gritty of what we should or shouldn't say and how we should present it, because I think it was an absolute debacle, looking back on it, just an awful episode. But there are aspects to it that do interest me. For example, we still don't know if whatever video Dan O'Keefe saw is real or not. I think the assumption was, oh, well, he must have lied about something. I don't know. I think it's worth discussing at some point. But I mean, it's your show, Jan. I think, looking at the comments, you direct everything, and I'm happy to talk about anything that you want to talk about.
That's one thing I've noticed about you, Duncan. You do, you sort of say, Jan, I'll leave it to you, love. Go on. You do that. I bet you do the same with Mrs. Smith, don't you? Poor Mrs. Smith. She's probably like, Dunks, what do you think? Should we do this next week? I'll leave it up to you, love. You do what you want to do. I can just imagine. But yeah, getting back to Dan, I did do a couple of videos about him at the time, and I think my main issue at the moment is in that. Do I believe he actually saw something? I think he possibly did. I don't think he made the whole thing up. But where I feel he went wrong was by not being transparent about it and then disappearing. Do you remember when he disappeared and everyone was like, oh my God, I hope he's okay? And he disappeared for what, maybe a couple of weeks. And then when he came back, it was like, I don't want anyone talking about this. Don't anybody talk about this. And it's like, what? You were the one that came out with it in the first place. And I think above everything else, that probably wound people up more so than, whether they considered he was lying about the thing. I don't think he was possibly lying about it, but I do think his actions afterwards were very telling and were what people were upset about. What do you think, Dunk? Are you thinking along the same lines as me, or?
Very much so, very much so. I think it was a reminder that we are all amateurs at this, you know. We do our best and we make mistakes. Um, I think he made a mistake. I mean, again, I haven't seen the video. I don't know what he's talking about. I think he made a mistake. And he made another mistake by then disappearing and not explaining it, coming back 2 weeks later and pretending nothing had happened. That was yet another mistake. Saying that it had been verified when I don't know who can verify these things. I was talking to someone today, someone that is very talented at, examining photo shots and videos and that. And even these people that work in this business say it is so hard to be 100% sure that every single aspect of what you're looking at is either fake or real. It is a very murky world out there. I'm not technically minded. I would have no idea. But all I know is, Jan, there is no way, even if some pro had told me this is genuine, you can go out there and say this video is real and this is Jay Slater and he's being tortured. There is still no way I would go out and say anything about it. So I think Dan made the most horrendous mistake when he did that. But we're in a very, very difficult world here. Those that just sit back and then criticize, fine, that's all you have to do. If you're one of those online critics that can only say what a mess you made of it, fine, go ahead and criticize. But when you are given some information, especially if it's visual, it is hard to know what to do with it. You can't just ignore it. You've got to do something. Dan messed up, but I get sent stuff and I look at it and I think, well, it could be true, but how do I word this? You've got to word it so carefully. That's why you and I are on the same page with this. It looks to me like, or it could be this. You've got to word it just right. Otherwise, you set yourself up for horrendous failure. So yeah, well, I say poor Dan. I'm like you. I believe he thought what he was looking at was the real thing. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine he would have just made all that up, troll-like, to cause a stir. I don't believe that. But kind of glad that, he went through all that. So we all kind of learned a lesson like, no, 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 can't do this, can't do it. I've never had a moment like that where, I've said something and suddenly thought, oh no, that's got to be wrong. I mean, a few minor things I'll come back and say, actually, that was from a different time. I've corrected myself, but nothing major like that. And I don't think you have, had you? You've never put anything out there and then 5 minutes later thought, oh my God.
No, not yet. But the night's still young. Um, yeah, and that is a problem. And at the end of the day, we are all humans, and we make mistakes. And as I said, I think it's that what he should have done, if he did realise he'd made a mistake, just put up a video, just sit there for 5 minutes, or it wouldn't even take that long, and just say, listen, I realise I was wrong to do that. I apologise to everybody, blah, 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 blah. That's all he had to do. But he didn't do that. And I
Right.
think that's bound to get people thinking, well, why didn't he do that? And it's difficult. And I think when he said that he had verified it, now I put this up here, ask Ali Harris and Marvin. Ali has seen and verified the video. I mean, what I would say to that is, who is Ali to verify the video? Do you know what I mean? I
Hmm.
I think if you're going to verify something, you have to be in a position of I could say authority. I'm not even sure that I need to say that word. I think you just have to be in a position of being able to verify it, and just passing it to another creator. This Ali Harris, is she a creator? Um, just passing it to somebody and say, well, what do you think? Do you think that looks like it could be him? That isn't verification. That isn't enough. And I know there's been occasions when I've emailed Duncan and said, Dunks, I've just received this. What do you think? Can you give me your thoughts on this? And that's what I would do. I would never take it all on my shoulders and then come out with this bombastic video claiming that I knew something about something, because I could be wrong. And I think that's part of the that's part of being part of a community is important, because we do need to ask each other things sometimes, and it's not about building up misinformation, organized misinformation. It's about wanting to do the right thing and not wanting to put out stuff that isn't true. I did actually say, before I pass over to you, Dunks, I did actually see round about that time the picture of somebody in the boot of a car, I think it was, that they were saying was Jay. I don't know whether that is the footage. I understand there was other footage that showed that Jay was possibly tortured. So, yeah, I'll pass it back on to you. Sorry, I do ramble a bit sometimes. So, off you go.
No, I mean, the rambling is fine. I think this is very, very difficult because you get shown something and it looks convincing. You want to say something, and yet you need something more than that. And that's what I find myself doing. I find someone will send me, a picture or some words from someone, and you think, okay, I could mention it, but on the other hand, I don't feel good about it. And I look for, two or three things. If you've got a picture of Jay in a boot and you've got someone said, I saw him being, bundled into a boot and, someone else confirms it, fine, go ahead and say, this is what you've got. For me, I don't know how you feel, Jam, just one odd picture or some quote from someone isn't enough. You can say, this person said this, and I don't know if it's true, but you really can't fly with it and say it's been verified or any of this. You really can't. You have to be so careful. The other thing I would point out is that I do get every now and then I do get something come through, and I just have to keep it. It's like one of those. I'm not going to mention it because it doesn't sound valid, but I don't know that it's wrong, so I just keep it there. And the reason I mention this is we get the accident group telling us all the time, well, you don't know everything. You're not privy to everything. You know, the authorities know things you don't know. Okay, fine. Announcement to the accident group. We too get fed stuff that may or may not be true. Accident group, reality check. You don't know everything either. And it could well be that the bits and pieces we get fed might be absolutely 100% true, and that they have no idea, the authorities have no idea, not that they care. And, you know, we could be looking at something that explains A, B, or C. I'll just give you a very, very quick example of this. I won't ramble on. But a few weeks ago, Mariana said that she's been in touch with someone that has stayed in the Airbnb. She showed us the picture of the inside of the Airbnb. There was Jay's photograph on the bed of the Airbnb. And I had a strong feeling that was that Markin Masker guy, because weeks ago he'd contacted me and he said he had stuff to tell me, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, he was saying it has to be in confidence. And I was like, yeah, okay, it's in confidence. But then where does that get us? You tell me something. I don't know if it's true. I'm not going to say to the whole world, Markin Masker says this and it must be true. Markin Masker knows Jay very well, and he can vouch for this, that, and the other. I'm not going to say that. So in the end, I had to tell him. I said, go, you know, to someone else, whether it be, well, I think I might have mentioned Mariana, or I don't know, maybe Aldon. I said, go to someone else and see how they deal with this. But my point is, I didn't disregard what he was trying to tell me. I kept it thinking, you know, this might be relevant at some point. But there was no way I was going to entertain Markin Masker saying this, that, the other, as if that's gospel. And this is the world we live in. What do you say? What do you not say? And those that are out there, and all they can do is criticize what you say or don't say, they haven't really been in that position where they're looking at something thinking, do I do I say something or not? It's not easy. It's not easy.
No, it certainly isn't. I understand we've got Marvin from what's he called? Streamline News, is it? And he's yeah. Some people are sort of saying that he was friends with Ali, and okay. So Rachel here has said Ali, Harris, and Marvin put out a lot of rubbish, Scottish crap as well. Nothing came of it. Um, what I will say is I don't want to slag off other creators. Um, if you feel that, then that is your prerogative. But I'm not going to go on, on what you think. I will take it, obviously, but I don't want to come on here and just be slagging off other creators. There are some creators that I'm like, okay, I give a side eye to, and then Dunks will say to me, just move away from it, love. But yeah, we're not always going to agree. We're not always going to agree with, how people do things. But I can honestly say I don't think I've met anybody in this corner of the internet that has purposely put out false narratives about this story. I really don't. So let me see what else people are saying in here. Duncan, if you can see the chat, if you want to answer something, just put your hand up and I'll let you speak. So what have we got here? Oh yeah, so you saw that picture, did you, Susie? Yeah, I saw that picture, but apparently there was another one which I'm glad I didn't see. But apparently there was another one, another more graphic one. I think the picture in the boot picture was debunked. I think it was found to be allegedly a Russian guy. Poor soul, who lost his life in that way. It's awful. So yeah, I think that was debunked years ago. So what else have we got in the chat?
Habit is ready.
Sorry?
Habit, I think. Habit is ready.
Okay, Habit, you're not connected, love. So you need to get connected. Um, do, 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 do. Right. If you, is there anything else you wanted to say, Dunks, while I'm reading the chat? I mean, we could talk. Okay. This one here. Let's go for this one. Annie was backing O'Keefe hard back in the day. Now the thing is, when I first saw Dan O'Keefe, I didn't, could I say I back? Yeah, I did kind of back him in as much as I found him interesting, and I wanted to hear what he spoke about. But I don't think there's anything wrong in that. I think, especially when there's new people pop up and they're talking about the case. We all know the case so well now, guys, that we can pick up if somebody's come in left field. Then we can pick up on things and say, well, hang on a minute, we sort of don't agree with that. I did actually see a video. I'll see if I can catch it in a minute, Dunks, when I pass over to you. A video on a big channel talking about the Jake Slater case. He's a Brit. I've forgotten what his channel's called now. What is it called? No, I'll see if I can find it. Right, so Chris says, what about the photo of someone busted on the rock? Don't want to be graphic. I didn't see that. Do you know what that's about, Duncan?
I do not. I do not. If everyone else has seen what Chris has seen, then Jan, you and I are out of the loop on this one. I don't remember seeing that. No.
No, I don't. No, not true, Geordie. It's another guy. Somebody else has put. Are you on about through an opening in a tunnel? At the time, people were saying that was old vintage. Do you remember back in the day, Duncan, when they said something about the car stopped? Was it Jay got out and went through a tunnel, possibly with Brad? Left his bag in the tunnel. I haven't heard anything about that recently. Have you?
I could never figure that out at all because it seemed to be talking about a completely different night. I think that was Mark Williams Thomas who was saying that. Do you remember he said something about Ayub had said something about Brad being off with the cat, on the cat, whatever. Mumbling Ayub wasn't very clear about that. And then he said something about Brad disappearing for 5 hours. Well, I could never see how all that worked into the same night that Jay was supposed to have disappeared. It could only have been the night after Jay disappeared, when apparently they went up searching in the middle of the night shouting Jay, Jay. But then that doesn't make any sense either. I mean, Brad's going to be running around on his own for 5 hours with the cat, on the cat, when he's supposed to be looking for Jay. So I couldn't figure any of that out. I couldn't figure out, obviously, why you would stop in a tunnel or just before a tunnel or just after a tunnel. It's the worst place to stop. So I don't know what you thought about that, Jan. I kind of pushed that aside and thought this could be another one where Mark Williams Thomas got half a story and couldn't really explain it very well. So I just left that one. But you know what I mean? I couldn't fit what was being described there by Mark Williams Thomas in any part of the J evening, that one, Sunday night, Monday morning. I couldn't see how it fitted in.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, okay, what is it, nearly 18 months now? There's so much that we've all sort of spoken about, and so much information has come our way. And, but we still remember it, and it's kind of nice to be able to just sit and chat and in a relaxed environment and just sort of remind ourselves of how much actually happened in that case, and all the other things that came. I think that is such an interesting point, and somebody did cover that the CCTV was missing. Did you cover that, Duncan? I think you did.
I mentioned a short while ago from a news article from Tenerife that said that the business owners and the neighbors of that strip area for the last 10 years or so have been demanding that that whole strip there be covered by CCTV. And it seems like the local authorities have been dragging their heels. We can guess the reasons why, and have insisted that it will happen, but it hasn't happened, and they put the onus back on the individual, bars and restaurants to have their own CCTV. And the reason I mentioned all that was because for the longest time we had everyone saying, "Well, it must be on CCTV. There must be something," and I agree with that. There must be something. There's got to be something on an individual bar CCTV, a fairly clear shot. That's the whole point of CCTV. If it's for security, you can see everyone coming in and out. But I mentioned it because, yeah, it could well be that once you're out of a place and just walking along there, that no one does notice you. And I go back to when Chris Pennington said, it's a fact. And when you hear Chris Pennington say the word fact, you better listen carefully. He said, it's a fact that Jay got in that car willingly with Ayub and Rocky and went up to Masca. And that's when I challenged Chris Pennington. I said, well, if it's a fact, you'd better tell us how you know that. Is it on CCTV? Have you got a photo from someone that sees you? Because if you haven't, Chris Pennington, if you're just saying it's a fact and hoping that flies, that doesn't work. We haven't seen any CCTV. And the crazy thing is, sorry, I'm getting on a bit of a rant here. Not only have we not seen anything on CCTV, with all of the tourists that are there, everyone with a phone in their hand, with the selfies and the videos of each other, you would have thought the chances of Jay walking along there, I mean, he's going from tramps to Magic Mikes and Papagayos and trying to, he's going everywhere. What are the chances that not one person says, "Oh my God, look at that. Who's that in the background walking by? That's Jay Slater." Not one. It is unbelievable. And I've made the point, Jan, if you and I went there and caused absolute mayhem, if I had one too many and started shouting, guarantee I'd be on 10 people's phones and the police would be leading me away. But somehow Jay Slater got away with it. It just doesn't add up.
You're absolutely right. I always wonder how many people's phones I end up on when I'm out and about because I'm not always this quiet and refined. Trust me. Anyway, I want to welcome Habert. How are you this evening?
Very well. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good in the hood. Right, what's this 12 questions you've got for us? Off you go.
I'm a bit more alive this week. Last week I'd been up since 4:45 in the morning and I was just like totally spent by 9 o'clock came, Right, I've got the 12 questions of Christmas. So here we go. Right, do you want me just to go through them? The whole 12 and then you can, right, here we go. Question 1. Right. When Debbie received that message to her phone, "Kiss goodbye to your son, he owes us enough fucking G money." If you swap the G and the money round, it reads, "He owes us enough fucking money, G," which we all know is street and slang. Everybody uses the word G. Could that have been a typo if someone was in a rush? Send it to a phone, right? Number 2, because the top of the pops here, right? Number 2, right at the start, it was reported that Jay was stabbed by a cactus, right at the start when Jay was missing, right? And it came up that he had been he'd been stabbed by a cactus, and that was on Trisha's initiative. It was on her lives, and I put that on her lives, and she said at the time, yeah, I thought that was very strange as well. So the word stabbed quickly got removed to cut by a cactus, right? Coming in on number 3, right. Why were all Jay's friends up between 7 and 9 in the morning? Teenagers after being at a rave all night. I mean, why at that time? Listen, I used to be a DJ, right? And at that time, you're either flat out and your phone is just getting ignored, or if you're on holiday, they could have been having a game of 1-2 buckle my shoe, and nobody would have been answering the phone at that time. You know, so why were they all up, hairbrushed and parted, ready to roll? You know. Number 4, the accident group said that the content creators hadn't been able to find anything, right? Well, if it was an accident, right, then if it was just an accident, what is there to find, right? Number 5, all the gang signs that they're all doing this, right? Listen, I used to run in the streets many moons ago. I know how it runs. All the gang signs, all the gun signs on the phone like this, pointing up, all of this, right? So they're all at it. Jay, Ayub, Brandon, Brad, they were all doing it, right? Number 6, what I was talking about last week, the Down the Rapids TikTok short in Masca Mountains. See if you go to the 52nd, I meant to say that last week, right? Because I was so shattered. See if you go to the 52nd mark, 52nd, 51 seconds in, 100% you will hear someone in amongst the animals scream, help. And I had to laugh when somebody put up in the comments that came up, oh yeah, was that not a rescue worker that was up there shouting help? A, he'd be shouting in Spanish, and B, what would a rescue worker be doing up there at 2 a.m, right?
Right, let me jump in here. Right, we've got to 6. Right. So I'm worried that we're going to forget all the previous one, because I'm really going to put Duncan on the spot. Come on, Duncan. Is there anything, any question that you'd like to answer, or anybody in the chat, out of that 6? What has stood out for you? They're very good questions, I have to say, Habit. But Duncan, is there anything out there that you would like to talk on just now, just to give Habit a break as well?
I wouldn't mind just flying through all 6 very quickly with answers, and then throwing it back to you or anyone else. Number 1, how about the effing G money? I took the G to be either, and I don't know this because I'm not a street person as such. I took the G to be drug money, DRUG, short for that, or just a mistake, FUCKING, repeated the G. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it makes a whole lot of difference in the sense that, the money's owed, but I didn't get any further than thinking it's either G for drug money. I'm not sure, not sure. Bitten by a cactus. I just thought that was Lucy's way of saying if you find him and he's got his leg bleeding profusely, it's a cactus and it's not anything else. But I don't know. Number 3, number 3, most people agreed saying that this is so bizarre that if you're up all night, even if you're taking God knows what substances, there's a point where you just don't have the energy to be, texting or another 3 or 4 hours. It did seem odd to me, and I had one police officers say that the chances, this is early doors, where is Jay, the chances of him actually sleeping it off somewhere in some barn around the corner is much greater than him saying, I'm going to walk 11 hours. So yeah, 100% agree with you on that. How is it that all of them are wide awake at 7, 8, 9 in the morning, having had no sleep? You'd have thought at least one of them would be comatose. Number 4, the accident group. Yeah, they keep saying if it's an accident, then why haven't you found anything? Well, I think what we found, Habit, in my opinion, what we found is the total absence of what should be there. And I keep going back to this: the dogs can't find a scent. After 2 weeks, there's not a single sign of that of Jay being there. To me, in a funny kind of way, that is finding something, is finding that something isn't there. I think that was what you're getting at, kind of. It's like, you know, if it's an accident, you're not going to find anything. And that's the point. There's nothing there, but that there should be something there. If the guy's gone through there and then fallen off, there should be something there that tells you he was there, and there isn't. Um, the gang signs, I don't know anything about the gang signs, but I would have thought if Debbie Duncan were concerned about what happened to Jay, she would also be concerned by all of the gang signs. I don't know many mothers that would say, oh, you know, these are good friends. I'm glad he went off to Tenerife with these guys. I think most mothers would say, what the hell is going on? That doesn't look right. I'd really love to know who these people are. But she doesn't seem that bothered by it. And number 6, sorry, Habit, I meant to try to find that DTR video and listen again at 50 seconds for the word help. And I didn't, but I'll take your word for it, and I'll throw it over to the commenters or to Jan to ask if they have actually heard that. That's me. Back to you, Jan, or anyone else.
Yeah, I do remember hearing it. I remember hearing the video,
Okay.
in the middle of the night video. I can't remember hearing a voice, but if people say they hear it, then we just have to accept what people say they hear. I personally did not hear it, but I did hear it sounded as if there was something going on that was alerting the animals. It sounded as if the animals were very startled. That's the impression I got from that clip. So let me have a look in the chat before handing back to Habit. Right. There's something I saw. Someone said that apparently one of the first things that was said about Jay was that he was a grass. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, I'd heard that also. And I remember specifically for a short time, at the very least, people were considering a connection with Tom Hiddleston. I don't know if people are still considering that. But I think, personally, I think it's quite feasible, especially if you put in the Maruba in there as well. There was talk that maybe he'd come over, somebody had picked him up from, I don't know, Ibiza, brought him over to Tenerife by boat. There was so much content or suspicion on that particular thought process that Tom Hiddleston was possibly involved as well. Oh, this is interesting. Trisha says there is a type of knife called a cactus. That's interesting. Okay, so let me pass it back to you, Habit, and with your next 6 questions.
Right. Just before I say to it, see, you're talking about the Maruba. There was a sluggy short, right? I mean, what's this guy about picking women? He's a fucking bully. There's a short, right, that it's got a camera coming from quite a height, and it comes spinning down, right to the Maruba. You know, if somebody's fallen, you know, it's just like another wee sort of mind game, you know, right? But I'll just go back on to my questions, right? Right, 7, right? Debbie Duncan's Jay's Law media tour, right? She's sitting smiling, right? Which in criminal psychology, that's known as dupe and delight, right? You can see it like that, right? Number 8, why is Warren not sitting on the couch with her? Regardless of them being separated, it should be a united front, right? There's no sign of Warren, right? The two of them should be sat there if they've got the same views on, you know. Number 9, who got to Debbie? Somebody got to her. When you compare the early interviews, especially the Sun interview, to the present day interviews, it's a total 180. She questions the narrative, and she says, and she also says in the Sun interview, it was dark up there in Masca when Jay left, right? Now, being up there a few times, it gets light at 7 a.m., right? It gets light at 7 a.m. and there's lots of people about, right? Number 10, coming in at number 10, Wizard, no, I'm only kidding. Right, coming in at number 10, right? It could have been a simple fight, right? That got out of hand, right? Jay might have got stabbed. We know there was somebody there with that kind of nickname, right? I'm not saying it was that person. I'm just saying it could have been a simple fight. Things could have happened very, very quickly. And then possibly certain people were called in to help and cover up, right? So, number 11, right, that's what I want to say about the Sarah Smith MP, right? Seems she was on the sofa with Debbie talking to Banana Reid and Great Balls of Fire, right? She talks about people in her constituency that have had similar experiences, right? Without giving specifics. Now, that is just hearsay in my book. And last but not least, Sarah Smith and Debbie, they talk about photoshopped images regarding Jay being tortured, right? But what about the bad photoshopped images in the backs of the cars going to Masca and at Masca, right? And the stretched face and the watch thing, they don't bring that up. And it's just like they're blaming the content creators. They're getting them mixed up with trolls, you know. And it was all good for the content creators at the start, like Warren telling Wax, "Oh, thumbs up, keep the good work up, Wax," and all that. But now all of that's done a 180 as well. So there's my 12 questions of Christmas, guys.
And very good they were too. You've certainly made us think here. I've written down a couple of things, but not as much as Duncan probably has. So we'll let him let rip. Well done, Habert. Very good. Let's listen to Duncan.
Actually, this time, Jan, what I want to do is tackle number 7 in a bit of depth. I mean, not too much, but I want to focus on number 7, and I'm happy to pass the rest to you or back to Habert if he wants to answer his own question. Number 7 is the one I was going to do a video this coming week on it, and it is what Habert's talking about, that smirk. Very noticeable smirk that Debbie Duncan has that she can't hide, it seems, in these interviews. It's bothered me a lot because I've seen it before. And without going into too many details, in French it's called a sourire complice, like a complicit smile. And where I've seen it is when I've been working as a translator and you go with a group of police house to house when they're doing an investigation. One of the key things you look for is how the others in the household react. Yes, there's a knock at the door. Could we ask you some questions about the incident last night? Now, half the time they don't need me; they don't need a translator. But I'm told to look very carefully how everyone reacts. Now, with the kids, half the time they run away. Yeah, if there are police at the door, the kids don't want to. The kids just hide. They're very nervous, they're upset. Occasionally, you get kids, teenagers, who don't run away and they, visibly stand there almost defiant. They're not being asked a question and they have the sourire complice and that complicit smile, and it's Debbie Duncan's smile. And what it tells you not every single time, nearly every single time, it tells you they know something that you don't know, and they're very happy that you're not going to know it. No one's going to tell anyone about this, and it's a look of defiance. It's a funny kind of smile because it's obviously not a smile saying hello, welcome, and it's just a slight look. It's a smirk. It's a smirk. What really put me off when I first saw it from Debbie was that, I mean, like all her interviews, it's talking about the death of her son, and I've never understood where that look comes from. Now, I'm not going to go further into body language or anything like that. I'm not an expert. I'm just saying, as soon as I saw that smirk the first time, I was like, oh my God, it's the surrire complice, it's the kid smiling. I think Zach has had a slight look of it sometimes. Zach looks like he's totally confused by life in general. He's a very difficult character to read. But occasionally you look at Zach's face and you think, is that a kind of vacant, smirk? What's going on in his mind? But with Debbie, I've always found it very, very troubling. And that last one with ITV, now I call, now she's kind of Deb the celeb. She's almost loving the questions so that she can, hold forth and say whatever. It just still doesn't feel right. That's all I can say.
Is Debbie getting paid for this media tour?
I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that she's not being paid. You see, again, I would love transparency here. Wouldn't it be fantastic if Debbie said, "Of course, I'm getting paid for these appearances, and every penny is going to, drug rehabilitation center or something like that." We don't ever get any transparency with Debbie or Warren or Zach. None of it. I go back a few weeks ago when one of the accident group actually said in the comments, well, Debbie is making money from this, but she's not cashing in. And I was like, oh, so it's only the content creators that are called grifters because some of the content creators, get a small amount for their hard work. But Debbie, in the eyes of the accident group, oh, she's making money, yeah, but that's allowed as long as you don't cash in. I mean, make this make sense. I would imagine she's getting paid. If she isn't, it would be very good for her to say to everyone, obviously, I'm not getting paid for this. But we're in that world where we don't know. We're not told anything.
I mean, in order for her to be paid, I would have thought, I don't know how she's getting these gigs. I know a little bit about how TV works, and if you're going on a program and you're a participant, they will pay you. I mean, thankfully, I've never had to go on TV and talk about something as awful as losing a loved one, but I know, like, without giving things away, I've done quite a bit of TV and I've been paid for it. If you're down as a participant, then you get paid. So there's that side to it. I mean, if she was there as an audience member, then no, she wouldn't be. But as a participant, which she very much is, she's a guest on the program, then it is up to whichever station, ITV, BBC, to have this sort of contract drawn up where she's agrees to do this on their program. But the other thing I'm thinking is, because I have said in a previous video, if Debbie is going to carry on going on to these TV programs, she really needs to get herself an agent, because, or get herself a not a translator, but somebody else, a spokesperson, because I feel exactly the same as you, Duncan. I think she doesn't come across as being genuine when she is doing these interviews. Now, we're all different. I mean, I'm very different. I laugh at the drop of a hat, but then I cry at the drop of the hat. I'm very emotional. But I know for a fact, if I was there because something awful had happened to my son, you wouldn't see a smile. Ever. You wouldn't see a smile. So, Habit, what have you got to say about about Debbie's appearances on the TV? Have you found them to be genuine? Do you think she looks as if she's genuine? I mean, what's your take on it?
No, no, I don't think she's been genuine at all. It's like she's trying to put on a saddest, happiest face, you know. It's just not genuine at all, and she's just repeating the same thing as well. You know, it's just the torture video, you know, and it's just I just don't buy it. You know, it's just I can see the dupe and delight, I can see the smile, you know, and right away I'm like that. She knows, in my opinion, she knows what happened to Jay. And somebody's got to her, right? That's all that's in my opinion, somebody's got to her and she knows, right? And that's all I'm going to say about it. And when she's doing her rounds, yeah, it's written all over her face, you know.
Okay, so we've got someone called Lola. Give over. Grieving parents don't cry 24/7. Ever heard of nerves too? Yes, I know. I have heard of a nervous laughter. I find that very irritating, but everyone's different. I think, yeah, obviously grieving people don't cry 24/7. How do you know? Have you grieved? I mean, anyway, I'm not going into my situation, but yeah, you've got a point in saying that. Maybe it is nervous laughter, but I want to also go back to what Habit said, in as much as asking, why is Debbie doing all this alone? Why is Warren not sat on the sofa with her, adding to it? Because that man showed genuine grief. He was absolutely devastated, and it seemed genuine. So, why is she doing everything on her own, Duncan?
Going back to Lola's comment and what you just said about Warren, Warren doesn't smirk. Warren doesn't find any of this funny. When I saw Warren saying, give them a bloody lie detector, they know the truth, he wasn't smirking. In that part of the documentary, he was as angry as anyone else that Ayu and Rocky had clearly gotten away with something here. So if Lola wants to judge how everyone grieves, then maybe she can give her expert opinion on how Warren is grieving in a completely different way from how Debbie is grieving. That's how I see it. Yeah, and why isn't he there? I don't know. I've got a feeling that Warren still has burning questions that if he were on the spot, on the ITV couch, he might actually lose it, which you would expect Debbie to do at some point, just go out of her mind and say, I still don't know why the hell Jay ended up at the bottom of a ravine or wandering through a wilderness. And I need answers. I think Warren might actually break down if he was asked the pertinent questions. And absence that we see with Debbie is she never gets really worked up about anything that's mentioned. When Sarah Smith is talking about, oh, these creators, they've done this and they've done that. You never hear Debbie kind of jump in and say, well, here's one particular example. Someone said this and I was so outraged about it. I decided to write them a message and let them know. No, none of us have ever received anything, not one single word from the family, from anyone connected with this case, telling us what we have said that is so offensive or so wrong. And this is getting to the point now where the likes of Sarah Smith, Camilla Tominey and all the rest of them that are siding with Debbie are running away, because I and others have written to them repeatedly saying, just give us 5 minutes of your time. Just reply to this email. Just let us express why we do what we do, and then you tell us what we're doing wrong. And it is silence. No one will communicate with us. at all. And I've got a feeling, going back to your point, if Warren were there, I think Warren probably would take us up on the offer. I could imagine if Warren were there and someone from ITV said, "Well, would you like 5 minutes talking to one of these sleuths that keeps talking about Jay?" I think Warren might say yes. Debbie won't. She will never, ever communicate directly with any of us. Because I think, like Habit said, I don't know that Debbie does know everything that happened to Jay, but I think Debbie knows what happened to Jay is connected to his damn friends that she protects 24/7. And if Debbie ever got on in a 5-minute conversation with Wax, myself, Jan, whoever, Debbie would actually have a total breakdown, I think.
Habit, have you got anything to say on that?
No,
Actually,
Duncan's absolutely spot on. Duncan's absolutely spot on. Can you hear me?
yes, I know. It's annoying, isn't it? He's too good. I wanted to say that I also wrote an email. I think I wrote mine before Duncan's, but he's trying to take all the glory. So I was actually going to read mine, but for some reason my mail won't open. But yeah, I also wrote to Sarah. I can't remember which day it was, maybe Thursday, Friday. Absolutely nothing. And I think she has the absolute audacity to say that she'll only respond if you are in her catchment area or whatever it's called. No, that's a cop out. So if I've written, Duncan's written, possibly other people have written, she's just ignoring it. That is not the way to go. And the thing is, it's not as if we've written it in a combative fashion. I was very polite to her. I said to her, I would love to be able to talk to you about the Jay Slater case, because I believe that perhaps you're not really aware of certain things that have happened, and certain side characters and everything. I didn't write a nasty poison pen letter, as I'm sure Duncan didn't. So yeah, shame on Sarah, but I just think it's not gonna be good for her, because we're not gonna shut up, because whilst we're still being vilified for trying to seek justice for this young guy, we are going to use our voices whether they like it or not. So Habba, I'm going to give you a final word, and then I'm after you, Habba, if Duncan, you want to round up your evening's chat, and then we'll head out until next week.
Okay, all I'm going to say is it'd be great if what we were talking about there, it'd be great if Warren done a podcast with someone, like Central Club or something like that. That would be fantastic, and then you might sort of hear a couple of things, the way he's really feeling, what he's thinking. So that would be really, 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 really fascinating, So I'll just love yous and leave yous, guys. And if I don't speak to yous before Christmas, have a good one. But I probably will be on again if that is okay.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome. And in case we don't meet before Christmas, have a good one, lad. And yeah, you take care of yourself.
Thank you.
All right, am I on next, Jan? What I was going to say, if you can hear me, I want to just address the last two points that Habit mentioned. Could a simple fight have killed Jay? Yes, yeah, I mentioned this a long time ago. There are many cases where someone that is drunk or under the effects of drugs will get hit the ground and die. Of course, I'm very, very worried about the level of toxins that were in Jay's system anyway, and I can't understand how that was never addressed in the coroner's court. I thought the coroner's court was all about finding out why someone died. We got the toxicology report. Sounded like, horrendous quantity of toxins in Jay's system. And then no one says anything about, well, how could that have affected his death? Could that have been, a part of it? We had all of Friday set aside for this, Thursday and Friday at the inquest. Friday morning, instead of looking into what effect all of these toxins could have had in Jay's behavior and the rest of it, Adley just says, "Well, I've come to my decision. The verdict is accident. That's it." And I thought, what a waste of a Friday. I really did expect a medical expert to say, when you have this amount of cocaine or what have you in the system, and you've had your 10 vodka shots, this is what we'd expect to happen. None of that. I'm still confused by that. I mean, it can't be that what was in Jay's system had no effect on him. And if we're trying to find out how he died, I would have thought that had to be looked at, but apparently not. That's not of any importance. And the other thing that Habit mentioned, the AI and the Photoshop and all of that. Yeah, again, no one has challenged Debbie on when she sees a photo or an image, a pic or a video, how does she know what is fake and what is real? Because she's very quick to say, oh, well, that was debunked or that was fake or, that was AI. And as Habit pointed out, well, she doesn't say that about, the picture of Jay in the car. She doesn't say that about things that seem to go in the favor of this must have been an accident. If you're going to be consistent, you would just hold your hands up and say, I'm not an expert. I can't tell from anything if it's real or fake. So I just can't say. I can only go on what others say. But no, again, Debbie seems to be very confident. And Habit asked who's been putting this in her head. I would say probably Chris, probably Luggy, when they all got together in June in Tenerife. But all of a sudden, yeah, Debbie is very confident now when she sees something that's AI or fake. She shouldn't be. She shouldn't be. She should be very hesitant and say, "I'm just not sure." But I too, like Habit, I'm very worried that she's suddenly become 100% certain of what is fake and what is real. It doesn't seem right. But I will end there, Jan, and wish everyone a well, we're not quite into December yet. We are going to do this again, right? I'm not gonna go waxing lyrical about having a happy Christmas. Just have a great week, and we'll get more Christmassy next week. But appreciate everyone in the comments. Thanks again, Jan, for hosting. Great questions from Habit. I'm going to go through Habit's questions again and try to, make a few videos on this because there's so much out there that we've touched the surface, but we need to look at it a bit more detail, I think. Over to you, Jan.
Yeah, it's like I say. I mean, it kind of it reminds me of when Wax was doing that interview, and the interviewer said, "So tell me, in not too many words, tell me about this Jay Slater case." And it's like, I'd be like, "What? Are you having a laugh?" There's just so much. It's impossible. And that's why, yeah, as I said before, Dunks, I'm happy that we do this on a weekly. If we can keep it to an hour, then it's not encroaching too much on our, real life and the people in the chat's real life. Yeah, I'm happy doing it weekly. Yeah, I'm going to put up a poll, I think, once a week. So, guys, if there's something else that you want to talk about, as long as it's related to the Jay Slater case, then yeah. And I'm definitely looking at the poll, and also I'm sure Duncan is, and we can perhaps have something specific to say about a certain thing. But there's just so much out there. It's insane. But yeah, I just wanted to pick you up on that bit where you said that Debbie sounds more confident. I don't think she sounds confident at all. It's like she doesn't answer a single question. Nothing. She'll just go, it's like, no, it's like, anyway, I better stop doing that because I'll be accused of mocking a grieving mother again. But, yeah, it's interesting that you feel that she's more confident. I don't, but, hey, we all think differently. Anyway, Dunks, thanks so much for taking the time to come and join me again. Lovely to see you. I'm sure you're going to have another busy week ahead, as indeed I will. You take care of yourself wherever you are in the world. And I want to say thank you so much to the chat, and especially my mods, who are absolutely fabulous. And I'm loving seeing the blue hearts there. Yeah, very good. So thanks to everybody that's come, the mods. Take care of yourselves out there, guys. We'll see you again, myself and Duncan, next Sunday on a live. And just take care of yourselves out there, because trust me, it's a rotten old world. So until the next time, bye bye for now.